We're here with Kevin Hurricane Hudson. He is the author of You Can Hit the Mark, and I want to let him kind of let you in on what that's really all about. I know that you have this, over spiritual perspective of what that means, but how did he come by it? How did God use him? Or what did God allow in his life to get him to understand that, hey, you can hit the mark? Kevin.
Hey.
Welcome, man.
Sir? Pleasure being here.
Welcome.
Thank you.
My wife bailed out on us, of course.
That's okay. That's okay. That's to get it done.
This gentleman right here is a world kickboxing champion. And when we deal with the body of Christ, when we think about the congruency of all these kind of other things that might be, some people might find, wait a minute, kickboxing, that's kind of violent, isn't it? Talk to us about how God has used that in your life and what you see God doing through it, and give us an understanding of that.
Oh, absolutely. Well, personally, as a child, I found my passion early. And, when I wrote this book, one of the things, I have 47 surefire principles in the book to help you improve your life if you act on them. And one of them is find your passion. I found my passion as a kid. I fell in love with martial arts in 1979. That was a long time ago. And that was 2 years after Elvis died, But I started at 79. I was excited about it. I fell in love with it. And I learned early on that martial arts wasn't just punching and kicking. It was about being a good person. It was about training your body, but also training your mind and your spirit. And my first karate teacher wasn't necessarily a pronounced Christian man in front of the class, but he lived an honorable life, which gave me a good example to follow. I have great parents, 2 great parents, but I was fortunate to have that other third person outside that I was accountable to. The lady earlier talking about Usher's organization, it does take a village to raise a kid. And in my case, I was the dojo and I was at home. But learning martial arts allowed me to gain confidence, allowed me to feel good about myself. And then I was instilled with a goal to be a world champion as a young kid. At age 13, I decided, hey, I want to be a world champion kickboxer, and I want to own my own martial arts academy. And that's what I did. And God's blessed me with that ability to do that and to minister to other people through the art.
Well, you've had quite a few phenomenal instructors and people that have really gone far in this thing. Talk to us about how you got involved to the level that you are now. I mean, not only having the opportunity to work with so many great people, but to maintain it and to grow to the point of finding that Christian walk within it.
Right.
Talk to us about those mentorships, because people will be amazed as to the people that you've worked with.
Oh yeah, I've had some good experiences. It's funny, every time you get to train with a real master, you understand a couple of things. One is they're not about hurting people or being arrogant or being cocky. Those guys usually don't know as much as they think they do, the guys that are cocky.
Right.
But when you're around a real man that's been around martial arts and understands it, he's amazingly humble, and yet he can kill you in 67 ways. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's a bad dude. So, like, for instance, Joe Louis, Lewis, he was the guy that trained with Bruce Lee. He was the first world heavyweight kickboxing champion and karate champion, first one. In the 70s was when kickboxing, full contact kickboxing started, and he started it. And in 1997, I was in New Haven, Connecticut, fighting for my second world championship. He was the guest, right? He was the guest, and he was there as a celebrity guest, and he was doing an exhibition, just doing some talks, and he got to see me fight. And it's so funny, that night I was fighting for my second world title. The first round, I knocked my guy down twice, and I was like, this is going to be easy work, I sat down in the corner. Beginning of the second round, he hit me with a straight right hand. Well, it wasn't really straight. It come around from Mississippi.
From way back, right.
All the way up. And it knocked me down, and I ended up looking around. I found my mouthpiece, got up, and I ended up winning a world championship through perseverance, through getting up, And Joe Louis was there that night, and he was like, he did good. He never really said a lot of good things about people, But that man ran from Christ his entire life. But what happened with him, there was a few key people God had put in his life. And then on his deathbed in the VA hospital in Pennsylvania, he accepted Christ.
Amen.
Isn't that beautiful?
Amen.
So you're never too late.
It's never too late. And the thing about it is that we can't give up on people. The Bible says where there's breath, there's hope. Until they close their eyes for the last time and it's done, there's still an opportunity.
Absolutely.
And we have to be willing, and I think maybe sometimes, when you take a look at that, we, even as Christians, we want people to have labored in the vineyard for a long time, but sometimes at the very last moment, they receive Christ, and that is part of what God had for them, and by the grace of God, God used us to do that.
Absolutely. Well, the thief on the cross,
There you go.
He's right
That's
there.
Right.
Within minutes,
That's right.
Jesus said, "You'll be in paradise
That's
today."
Right.
And Joe Louis ran from God his entire life, because every time we would get close to talking about it, he'd run, and it's because of his background. And he had a rough childhood, mainly. And but anyway, praise God, he's with the Lord today, and we'll get to see him again.
And we'll see him again
in the dojo in heaven. And then,
in the dojo of heaven.
The dojo of heaven. Right. It's got golden ropes and golden mats.
Part of my background. I mean, I've been in the martial arts and done all that stuff. Never gone to where you are right now. But talk to us about the difference, because you bring up the karate, the kickboxing, and everything else. Talk to us of the people who have a kind of a mysterious perspective of martial arts. What's the difference in all these styles?
All martial arts really came from the same area in Asia in the 1800s, 1700s. They were devising methods of defense. Okay, so then what happened? People took it and made it what they thought it should be. So it's just like denominations. It kind of gets popped out there. We got our kung fu guys, we got our karate guys, we got our taekwondo guys, we got our judo guys, now we got our Brazilian jiu-jitsu guys. They all come from the same spot. I trained with Joe Louis, I trained with Bill Superfoot Wallace.
Phenomenal man.
Oh God, amazing!
God.
I worked with him last weekend.
Wow.
And he kicked me in the head a couple of times. But he
was clocked as having like the fastest kicks or something like that. Right?
He's
phenomenal.
Even he's 71 and he can still kick me in the head. And he's like 5'9" and I'm 6'2".
Outrageous.
It's amazing. Yeah, and that's a testament of being active. Now he's had one hip replaced on one side and two on the other, but he can still work. But all these arts come from different areas, and people devise them to make them what they think they should be. You got striking arts, stand-up arts, you got ground arts where you're on the ground primarily. You have weapons, you have all kind of stuff. But for me, people call me and say, "What should I do? I want to train. What should I do?" I say, it's not necessarily the style, it's the person. If you find an instructor that you click with and you feel good about, get in and get involved and be serious about it, be passionate about it, train regular, train often, and just stick with it. I mean, martial arts will change your life. There's no doubt about it. If somebody, you've done it enough, you understand. See, people that never done it don't understand.
Yeah, I know people think it's about the fighting, and the reality of martial arts is the ability to have the confidence not to fight.
Absolutely.
And so when you get with a good instructor, a real instructor, somebody who's about the art and not, the hoopla, and like you said, it's the cocky ones that really don't know what they're doing, that will really get you into the humility of the art. You find out it's about not fighting and being so well tuned in your physique and your body and being able to control so that you don't have to even go there.
If you have to throw a technique, you have lost already.
Yeah,
I mean, that's the bottom line.
And it seems like what we're saying is kind of like counter, but the reality of it, think about it from Christ's perspective. If you want to be the greatest, you become servant of all.
Absolutely.
And it's an oxymoron. It almost doesn't make sense, but really that's what works, and that's what it's for. And so it's let's look at it from that perspective too, because some people deal with the fact that martial arts is a very spiritual thing, and the background of it all, Shaolin monks and all those kind of stuff. How do you maintain the spiritual perspective of Christ while fulfilling that kind of training with the youth?
Well, like at our academy, where I still run 2 martial arts schools, and we have a student creed, and it's mainly about character, okay? And as a martial arts, I do a Japanese background martial arts. So I do Japanese Shotokan. So it's very strict, very, very hard, very hard. And the thing about it, I don't pitch it, I don't teach it from a spiritual perspective. People know I go to church, they know I'm active in the church, I teach Sunday school, I'm a deacon with my church. They know I'm very active, okay? Now, here's the deal, we always tell people when and when not to use their training. And they need to know that. And we always tell the kids, never use karate on mom, dad, your sister, your brother, or your dog, or your cat, or your fish.
Your people alone.
Leave them all alone. That's right. You only use karate on somebody you don't know that hurt you. So we always
it's self-defense, okay?
Absolutely, all the time. That's important.
That's very important.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you're in the midst of taking care of 2 schools. What's that like? What's the distance between them, and how does that work on an everyday basis?
Well, with me, you know, I have some good people that help me. My schools are about 9.2 miles apart.
Okay.
So, you know, it's not hard. One of them I don't go to as often. One I'm at about every day.
Okay.
So it's just having a good team. You know, nobody gets successful without a team. Look at Jesus. He had 12 guys.
That's right.
And he worked with those 12 guys. That was his team.
That's right.
And he said, you guys are going to take this stuff and move with it.
That's right.
You know?
Yeah.
And then later on, he had to get Paul, but Paul was so hard-headed, he had to work on him. You know?
Paul, once he got hooked, man, you know, I mean, ball of fire.
Yeah, ball of fire.
Talk to us from the perspective, again, you know, you have the book, you've written principles of what are we going to find in here? Give us a couple of instances of the principles that are in here.
You know, it's funny. This book had been in my head for years and years and years, right? And one day I sat down and said, hey, I'm going to write this thing. So from Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night, for 8 months, I wrote. I sat at the computer and just hammered away. Pow, pow, pow. Hammered it out. I pitched it to 44 publishers, got turned down 31 times. And then finally I found a literary agent that liked it. And he found me a smaller publisher that did it, and it made it look really nice. So, but originally when I was writing the book, I was writing it for someone that maybe was in their late 30s to mid 40s that maybe thought, well, you know, God gave me a plan, but I missed it all. I messed up. Because I thought with my kickboxing, you know, when I was a kid, kickboxing was big. You know, it was on ESPN and Joe Corley, Battle of Atlanta. I would come down here all the time, you know, and watch the Battle of Atlanta, you know. And I thought I was going to be famous, you know. But when I got to the kickboxing, when I got to the pinnacle of the sport, NHB was starting, MMA was starting. I was on the tail end of the kickboxing, but the beginning of MMA. So it kind of put me in a quagmire where I didn't achieve what I thought I was going to achieve. But I achieved what God wanted me to achieve. I had my dojo. I achieved a goal. But now that I've written the book, I find that, you know, people say, wow, man, I got a lot out of that book. And women tell me this. I'm like, wow, you enjoyed the book? They're like, yeah, even though it talks about fighting and my karate stuff and all. But they enjoy it because the stories are good.
Right. And
there's some laughs. And I had one lady come to me the other day and say, you know, I cried. I said, why'd you cry? There's a part where I'm in the hospital. My mom cried, you know. But so the book, I had a teen, a 17-year-old kid, said, man, that's great. It gives me some perspective on where I need to be in life. So, you know, there's some things that I have done. You know, when you set a goal as a kid, there's a lot of turns and crooks and crannies before you reach that goal.
That's right.
And a lot of people give up. But as God says, you got to persist. You can't give up. It's not going to be easy. I read that whole book you carry around, and it doesn't say it's easy in there. Not one time.
Not one time.
Not one time.
Not one time. I know. We all go through the Bible looking for, where's the easy part?
Where is it?
Oh, it's not in there.
You know, my wife got this joke every day. I get a text. It says, "Consider it a joy, dear brothers." You know, James 1, man. Because, buddy, it's a problem.
Count it all joy.
That's right. That's
right. You know, so you know, we only have a few minutes left, but I do want to get to this. You go through life now as a martial artist with the name Hurricane.
Yeah.
Okay, now why did that come from? Where did that come from? And give us the story behind that.
You know, it's funny. It's not really that fantastic of a story. It's kind of boring. I was a kid. I was 13. I said, man, I want to be a world champion kickboxer. And back in the day, you had your Bad Brad Heftons, you had your Jerry Romes, but Jerry Rome didn't have a nickname. But anyway, you had Jerry Trimble, Golden Boy. You had Rick the Jet Rufus. You had Benny Urquidez the Jet. You had those guys. They said, well, you got to have a name. And nobody could come up with a name. And then one day, somebody said, there's a motocross racer named Bob Hurricane Hanna. I used to ride motorcycles, right? And I said, Kevin Hurricane Hudson. And then somebody said, that's it. And I was 13. It stayed. It stuck. It's stuck ever since. Yeah,
no, did you ever have to really back that up once? I mean, because people come gunning for you.
Well, you know, here's the deal. When I was training, I traveled 6 hours to be in a gym where I trained for my world championships. There were 3 other world champions that come out of this gym. Oak Tree Edwards, Dale Sunshine Fry, Curtis Crandall, guys that could really fight. So people would go to this gym and gravitate to it to see who was there, who's the new guy, you know. And I did a lot of traveling too, and usually people would seek me out. And I've had people call me and say, hey, I'm going to set up a fight, you know. I had a local boy where I live said, man, I want to fight with you. And he went on and on and on. You know how they do. And I said, yes, I said, look, I'm in the same spot every night from 4 to 8. Come on by anytime. And you know, he showed up one time. But yeah,
how can people get in touch with you and get the book?
Well, you know, my book, obviously, KevinHurricaneHudson.com. That's my personal website. I'm actually trying to revamp it, make it look a little better, so it's not quite where it needs to be. But you can see the book. You can contact me there. YouTube, I've been putting a lot of stuff on YouTube. I got some of my fights on YouTube. You have to watch it.
Okay.
I watch it on a like, man, look at that. Ooh.
Did I do that?
Did I do that? Yeah, that hurt. But yeah, KevinHurricaneHudson.com is probably the best place. Social media, you can find me on there. My goal is to, I speak a lot now. I go around to churches, I talk, I do some corporate events. Mm-hmm. Too many people give up too quick, so we can't do it.
Well, get the book. You can hit the mark. KevinHurricaneHudson.com. He is a product of training, a product of that spark that we've been talking about all night long, that God gives you. You learn the passion, you learn to understand, and you learn to know who you are. And I don't care what area of life, God can go ahead and produce something out of you. That's what it's all about.